Nvidia just had record earnings, and because we followed our VIX cash allocation, we were able to participate while being at a comfortable level here. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to explain why exactly Nvidia is up right now after hours, what happened with their earnings. Then we're going to get into the markets, how I'm going to prepare tomorrow with my cash levels and my current positions. And then we're going to talk about the individual stocks that are in the portfolio. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing what I'm personally doing for educational purposes only. Results may vary. Now, if you take a look at the account, before the market closed today, we closed at this level, which is about, slightly below the 1.453 level in the portfolio. But if you do want to see me hit my 8-figure goal in this portfolio, make sure to be subscribed to the channel by clicking the subscribe button down below this video. And if you get any value out of it, please hit the thumbs up button for me. I would greatly appreciate that. And I appreciate you being here. Now, if we take a look at the realized gain loss for the day, we did manage to close out some profitable trades. Even with the market down, we make money no matter what direction the market goes. So we closed some Meta covered calls here for a nice $1,000 profit. Now, results vary month to month, day to day, and I'm not the only one doing it. As you can see right here in my private mastermind Options Trading University, we now have over 620 members sharing their inspiration. As you can see here, clients sharing wins, and this client right here sharing an inspiration. Now, if you do want access to my Ryan's Trades and my Leaps, Entries, and Exits channels, that'll be at the top of the description down below. Also, I give away free trade ideas on my Instagram, my X account, and my free newsletter, which are all three down below in the description. I will be releasing a newsletter tonight with a free trade, so make sure to take advantage of that. But let's go ahead and dive into it. What happened leading up to this huge Nvidia earnings event? It feels like the market was really dependent upon this event right here. There was a lot of naysayers, a lot of fear mongers out there saying that, the AI bubble is burst, we're entering a bear market, and all of the above. So yesterday, basically President Trump met with the U.S. Saudi prince to talk about a $1 trillion spending deal. So the White House said Saudi Arabia had pledged to increase an already promised $600 billion worth of investments to $1 trillion, okay? And basically they were talking about AI and the increase in investment here in the U.S. So massive news, right? Came off from yesterday. And then this morning, basically Elon Musk and Jensen Huang met at the Saudi Arabia Investment Forum. They talked about chip demand, they talked about AI, and in fact, they were talking about sending AI satellites up into space because they can't meet electricity demands here on Earth, which is absolutely insane to see how much demand there is for compute and GPU power that cannot be met here on planet Earth, right? So they're going to be, they talked about the future of AI and really, where we are at the inflection point. So I believe we're just getting things started. Jensen Huang believes that too, and so does Elon Musk. And Elon announced that xAI will be the first customer of Nvidia-backed data center in Saudi Arabia. So then after the market closed, Nvidia earnings, okay? Some of the best earnings they've ever seen. Record revenue of $57 billion, up 22% from Q2 and up 62% from 1 year ago. In fact, I have kind of a key takeaway list here that I want to talk about, okay? So record revenue, $57 billion, up 62% year over year with 73% net margins. That's absolutely insane for the largest company in the stock market, okay? Blackwell chips sold out completely. Cloud GPU supply can't even keep up. And Jensen Huang increased their Q4 outlook from $65 billion expected plus or minus 2%, and their 75% net margins next quarter, okay? So they expect to make even more revenue with even higher margins. So this company cannot stop growing, and it shows with all the investments, all the data center build outs, that this is real, right? And this is showing on the balance sheet. So another notable feature here is that Nvidia did $37 billion worth of buybacks this year, and they still have $62.2 billion authorized for share repurchases going forward. So that can also boost the stock from here. And then major partnerships, OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, Oracle, xAI, Meta, and they even announced a partnership with Palantir, okay? So based off of this news, the market took this very good. And we saw after hours, Nvidia go all the way up to 198. It's currently trading at 194, which is about 4.4% up after hours. So tomorrow, this stock could definitely be up again to 198 and potentially up to past 200. And we'll see at the open where Nvidia goes. But if we take a look at the chart, we're going to take a look at the chart here. Okay, it was looking like doom and gloom here. And I actually thought this was the best setup for Nvidia because past quarters, like I talked about in the last video, we were at all-time highs on Nvidia, the Nvidia chart. And then when they announce earnings, it pops up and sells off, popped up a little bit, sold off greatly. But since we've sold off pretty significantly from all-time highs here on Nvidia, about 12% from all-time highs, I thought that was a good setup for Nvidia to really pop up here on good earnings. And that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly what I predicted. So do I get every prediction right? No, but for this one, I was pretty confident because there was just so much fear. The VIX trading upwards of 24 yesterday. It just really felt overstated, the fear here, especially off of earnings that most people knew were going to come in good. I guess we just didn't expect them to come in this good. So with that being said, Nvidia, wonderful job there. And that actually brought up other stocks in the stock market, which I'm going to be covering. But first, let's talk about the overall markets and where those may be going, because I'm going to be doing some adjustments to the portfolio tomorrow. So the Bureau of Labor of Statistics did announce that they aren't going to release the jobs data that was supposed to be released in October. So they're not going to be releasing that. And that wasn't good for interest rate cuts. So the probabilities of a December rate cut went from 51% this morning all the way down to 32%. So we're probably not getting that rate cut in December. Markets didn't like that. The market quickly sold off this morning a bit. But the odds for a rate cut in January are still extremely high, 82.5%, and another one in June, and then another one in September. So still 3 rate cuts being priced in the futures on the table. So for me, that says the market can continue much higher from here based off of rate cuts, increased liquidity in the markets, businesses, consumers can borrow at cheaper rates, and that is what's keeping me bullish. Now, if the Fed said, hey, we're not going to cut rates anymore, then of course I would change my stance, but I'm keeping my bullish stance going forward here all the way throughout 2026 and even into halfway through 2027, which I imagine inflation might peak back in sometime mid-2027 or late 2027, and we'll keep an eye out then. But for now, we're taking advantage of the markets here and good earnings, okay? So with that being said, let's take a look at QQQ. We bounced right off, almost bounced off that 588 level that I talked about last Wednesday, yesterday, and then we kind of finished the day at 599. So my expectation was on bad earnings with Nvidia, we probably breached the 588, head all the way down to 571 for a quick flush, and then the market gets bought up, but that didn't happen. So what I expect here actually is not as mega bullish as I thought, okay? Because I was actually, if the market did breach the 588 and come down here, that would set us up for a very strong Christmas rally, okay? Now, because Nvidia came in with good earnings, right, and lots of stocks are picking up, I think there will be some profit taking. I think there will be some profit taking. So I expect the market to kind of rally up here, right, and then maybe even trade sideways for a bit, and then potentially breach all-time highs in the late December. So a rally, but not as strong of a Christmas rally. We potentially get up to 650 on QQQ by year end. So that's kind of my expectation. I was expecting a much stronger rally if we got a dip here, but it looks like Nvidia is pulling the markets back up, and we probably head close to that 650 area on QQQ. So this is a good setup, a nice, decent sized Christmas rally, but nothing too extreme. So just preparing for that or a potential sideways market. So Going into tomorrow, I expect the VIX to probably drop to sub 20. This thing will probably drop down to somewhere in the 19s or even the 18s. So what I'm going to be doing is taking off a lot of positions and getting my cash in line with the VIX cash allocation levels that I talk about every single video. Now let's take a look at those. Right now we're trading between VIX 15 and 20 and 25. High fear, right? 10 to 15% cash. Right now I'm about 14% cash, but I plan on increasing that back up to tomorrow to this 20% area because we're probably going to be in the VIX 15 to 20 area. And I want to make sure that I have my cash levels in line with those levels so that if we do have a December dip or something like that, something comes out of left field that we don't expect, I'm prepared and ready and I'm not sitting in minimal cash like most people, okay? So that's kind of the expectation, going to be taking off a lot of trades tomorrow. So let's kind of run through the stocks that are really going to be rebounding tomorrow that I have positions on. The first one is gonna be IREN, okay? So IREN, after hours at the 49 area, we laid on some positions there and really took advantage of that dip. If we look here, I sold the 43 puts and IREN will probably head a bit higher tomorrow, okay? So not really doing much there as the current position. Let's take a look. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing what I'm personally doing for educational purposes only. Results may vary, but IREN is looking really good here. We have the 50s, the 52s that expire on Friday. And if those are out of the money, maybe we see IREN at 53 on Friday. I'll close those out and I'll probably redeploy lower for the end of December. I'll probably get down into, let's just see, we can take a look at the options chain. I'll probably go out to December 26th and I will go somewhere in the mid 40s just to get a little bit lower and a little bit safer. The returns there, if I sold today a 40 put option on IREN, I'd collect $310. Which is probably I would collect somewhere closer to the mid, so $4, and that would be a potential 10% ROI there. So if I could get somewhere in the low 30s for my December put options, I feel safe there. So that's what I'll be doing for IREN. If we take a look at Palantir really rallying after hours, 170. My current position is pretty large. So we have 208,000. I didn't even realize I had multiple six figures in this. That's the second largest position in the portfolio. We have 208K in cash secured puts, and I have a lot of puts expiring this Friday at the 177.5 area. So it looks like I potentially will get assigned those shares, which I'm totally fine with because that means I'm literally catching the bottom here on Palantir. Okay, so if I catch him here, 177.5, right, which is right around this area, we'll sell some covered calls in the 185 or 190 area, somewhere around there, get the shares called away, boom, nice profit for Christmas, and call it a day. CLS is up after hours quite a bit too. We're all the way up here at 331. I have a pretty large position there as well, so we'll have to do some adjustments. That's actually my largest position. So we'll see, how much these puts are up tomorrow morning. I mean, this thing is up quite a bit after hours. If we take a look, let's see, after hours, CLS is up about 6%, okay, 6%. So pretty big jump there. We might do some adjustments. If we go out to December, if I went out to the end of December, I'd probably grab something in the high 290s, which would be nice, somewhere around here, or maybe the same strikes like the 300 strike. So it's pretty nice to be able to stay pretty far away from the stock, collect really good premiums. I mean, the premiums on the 300 strike right now is a potential 8.81% ROI. So very high there. Obviously, results vary with where the stock's at tomorrow, but that is another one I'm looking at adjusting, maybe sizing down a bit to get my cash levels in line. TSM is obviously going to see a big jump tomorrow. It's already trading at 290. This thing could probably breach 300 if we take a look at the chart. Yeah, I mean, we're trading at 290. Who knows? This thing could get all the way up to 300. We put on a pretty decent sized position there in the portfolio, about 55K. And then I have another portfolio with around the same, about 55K. So we'll see on those. I'm not going to touch those. Just let those be. We have 9 days left. And then the last one is going to be Robinhood. Okay. So I wanted to talk about Robinhood because Robinhood took quite a dip this pullback. I mean, we were down 27% on the stock. So this thing took quite a dip, right? And we have a lot of cash secured puts, and basically we're catching the bottom here. So RSI is having a nice crossover. This will probably cross in the morning. MACD looks like it wants to head back bullish, and PE ratio is currently at 49. So with the hood position, okay, we have 150K in cash secured puts, and then we have these 115 call options, which are Leaps call options that expire in 2027. So depending on how much we are up on these tomorrow, I might close those out and then sell some Decembers, okay? Sell some December put options, December 26th, to where I could get a little bit lower and be a little bit safer, okay? So the potential ROI on just a 30 delta, actually the 110 strike is a 29 delta, is a potential 6% ROI. So pretty high premiums there, and I'd rather have a for sure trade and kind of adjust my cost basis here in Robinhood, since it looks like in 9 days, potentially I could get a sign on the 130s and 127s, but who knows? You know, Robinhood could head a lot higher from here. So I guess we'll see tomorrow, because Robinhood after hours is currently trading at 121. It was trading as high as 123 just a few minutes ago. So, yeah, market's pretty bullish. I do think we rebound from here. We might see some sideways action going into next week. We have some data coming out. You know, some profit taking is probably going to happen. So I'm not expecting us to go back to all-time highs immediately on QQQ. I do expect some sort of consolidation period here and maybe a little bit of choppiness. So just be prepared for that. You know, and keep your VIX cash allocation levels in line. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next update video on Friday. Take care.